Hi, my name is Antonio Buen and welcome to the class of Mr. Math Techniques. Today we are going to discuss ratio and proportion. What do you mean by ratio? Ratio is a comparison of two or more quantity. And to explain that further, for example, your mother gave you 2 bars of chocolate to divide between you and your brother. And you divided it by 1 for you and 1 for your brother. Or 1 for you and 1 for your brother. So the ratio is 1 is to 1. For example, you're going to school. And you being the younger one, your mother gave you 100 pesos and your brother, who is older than you are, needs more. So she gave 200 pesos. So the ratio is 100 is to 200. And that is equivalent to 1 is to 2. Or 1 or 100 is to 200. So that is called ratio. Or for example, your mother gave you a 100 peso for your snack. And you're going to divide it with your brother. So say, hating kapatid, or a brotherly or equally divided between you and your brother. Say for example, 50 pesos for you and 50 pesos for your brother. And that is 50 is to 50. So that is called a ratio. Let's say your father arrived from working overseas and he just brought some chocolates. And on the first day, he gave you 2 chocolates. Okay? 2 chocolates. And he gave you 2 chocolates, and your younger brother, he gave 3 chocolates. So the ratio there is 2 is to 3. And on the following day, he gave again 2 chocolates and again 3 to your brother. For 2 days, you have received 4 chocolates against your brother's 6. So the ratio becomes 4 to 6. Now, 2 is to 3 and 4 is to 6 is called equivalent ratio. Because equivalent ratio is a statement that makes the comparison of 2 ratios. But how do we write a ratio? There are 3 ways how to write it. For example, the ratio 1 is to 1. Okay, we write that as 1 is to 1. Okay, 1 is to 1 is a ratio. The second one is 1, a semicolon, 1. 1 is to 1. And the third one is 1 is to 1. It's a fraction. Therefore, a fraction is a ratio. So examples of ratio are, like I've said, 1 is to 1. Can be said 1 is to 2, or 3 is to 4, or 5 is to 6, or 100 is to 300. These are called ratios. What about proportion? Proportion is the comparison of 2 equal ratios. For example, 1 is to 2 as 2 is to 4. Okay? Because 1/2 is equal to 2 over 4. Okay? We can express 1 is to 2 as 1/2 and 2 is to 4 as 2 over 4. So, 1/2 is equal to 2 over 4, and they are called proportion or equivalent fraction. If you divide 2 with 2 and you divide 4 with 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay? So that is called a proportion. In the ratio and proportion, 1 is to 2 is equal to 2 is to 4. We call the two items in the middle as means. Okay? These are called means. Remember, the two numbers inside the proportion are called means. And the two numbers on the outside, they are called extremes. Okay? So what do you call those two numbers in the middle? They are called means. And the numbers on the outside are called extremes. And the product of the means is always equal with the product of the extremes. So if you multiply 2 times 2, okay, is equal to 4. And if you multiply 1 times 4 is equal to 4. So this is why it's called a proportion. It's called equivalent ratio. The product of the extremes is equal to the product of the means. Don't forget that. So what if is one number is missing? For example, 3 is to 5 as an unknown number that we call that as n is to 15. Okay? So you have here a 2 ratio. Okay? 3 is to 5 and n is to 15, and your n represents an unknown value of a number. So if we are going to write this as ratio, we have this 3 is to 5, and then you change your as into equal sign. That will be equal to n is to 15. Or we express this as 3 is to 5 is equal to n is to 15. You remember that the product of your means is equal to the product of your extremes. So if you multiply this, you multiply 5 times n becomes 5n. And if you multiply the extremes, 3 times 15, 3 times 15 is equal to 3 times 15, so 5n, and 3 times 15 is 45. So 5n is equal to 45. To get the value of n, we must eliminate this. Eliminate your 5, and we do that by dividing both 5n and 45. We divide it with 5. Okay, so we divide this with 5 and we divide this with 5. You can cancel your 5 and your 5. What remains is n is equal to 45 divided by 5. So therefore, n is equal to, what is 45 divided by 5? It is 9. N is equal to 9. So 3 is to 5 is equal to n is to 15 is equal to 9. Let's check. Let's check if it is true that the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. So 3 times 5 is equal to, we substitute n here, is 9 is to 15. If we multiply the means, 5 times 9 is 45, and you multiply the extremes, 3 times 45 is 45, and they are equal. Therefore, the unknown number of your n, 3 is to 5, as n is to 15 is 9, and we have checked that it is correct. Okay, one last example. For example, you are walking, okay? You can walk, let's say you can walk 5 meters in 10 seconds, okay? 5 meters in 10 seconds. Okay. Question is, how many meters can you walk in 15 seconds? Okay? N meters in 15 seconds. Okay? You can walk 5 meters in 10 seconds. How many meters can you walk in 15 seconds? So in your first situation, your ratio is 5 meters is to 10, and your second situation is how many meters can you walk in 15 seconds? Again, we express this as a fraction. 5 is to 10 is equal to n is to 15. Again, we cross multiply, and 10 times n is 10n, and 5 times 15 is 75. And to solve for the value of n, we divide both sides with 10. Divide by 10, divided by 10, we cancel this. We have n is equal to 75 divided by 10. And 75 divided by 10 is 7.5. Therefore, your 5 is to 10 is equal to 7.5 is to 15. That means you can walk 7.5 meters in 15 seconds. Now, if we are going to check, we substitute the value of n here. That will be 5 is to 10 is equal to 7.5 is to 15. And multiply this. 10 times 7.5 is 75. And 15 times 5 is 75. And they are equal. So that's it for today. Next video, we will be solving more problems regarding ratio and proportion. For the meantime, for those of you who are just with us today, don't forget to click that notification bell and the subscription button so that you will be updated when a new video will come out. This is Mr. Math Techniques. Thank you for watching.